The courtroom fell silent when he walked in. A teenager, barely old enough to drive, standing before a judge who could barely hide his amusement. Smirks rippled through the room, the kind reserved for someone already dismissed, already underestimated. To them, he was a child out of place in a world of authority and power. But what none of them realized was that this boy carried a secret. One that would not only silence the laughter but turn the entire courtroom upside down. What could a teenager possibly reveal that would shake them all to their core? World with an intensity that no classroom could contain. Nights for him were not about video games or parties. They were about preparation, a silent obsession with something greater than himself. And yet, every day, he walked through A before the world knew his name. He was just another teenager blending into the noise of the city. His backpack was old, his shoes worn thin, and his frame carried the quiet weight of someone who had always been underestimated. Teachers had told him to lower his expectations. Neighbors whispered that kids like him never made it far. To them, he was destined to become another forgotten story. But behind his calm eyes was a mind racing faster than anyone could see. He devoured books others ignored, memorized details most would miss, and studied the world that saw only his age, his skin, his silence. People judged before they ever listened. They laughed when he spoke up, dismissed his questions, and to discomfort. People leaned forward in their seats, curiosity replacing ridicule. Still, the attacks didn't stop. They came harder now. The prosecutor raised his voice, pressing him with trick questions, weaving in technical jargon meant to corner him. Yet the boy countered with calm, almost surgical precision. He cited details no one expected him to know, cutting through arguments like a blade through paper. Each answer was a micro-victory, each word peeling away the disbelief in the room. The murmurs that once mocked him had turned into whispers of confusion. Who was this kid? But the turning point hadn't arrived yet. The tension was still building, the disbelief climbing toward something bigger. Because the boy wasn't just surviving, he was waiting. Waiting for the moment when the truth would hit like thunder, when the courtroom would finally understand who they were really dealing with. And when that moment came, it wouldn't just silence the laughter. It would leave the entire room stunned, staring at a reality they never saw coming. The room held its breath. What had started as mockery had twisted into something else entirely. The teenager, once dismissed as a joke, now stood at the center of the courtroom with every eye fixed on him. The prosecutor, red-faced and desperate, slammed down a thick file of papers. "If you think you belong here," he sneered, "then explain this." He pushed the evidence forward, certain this would end the boy's act. Silence, the kind that crushes a room. The teenager calmly reached for the file. His hands didn't shake. His voice didn't waver. Page after page, he dismantled the so-called evidence, pointing out errors, contradictions, and oversights the professionals had missed. Each word landed like a strike, cutting through the arrogance that had filled the room minutes before. How could he know this? How could a kid read legal arguments like poetry? The judge leaned forward, his smirk gone. The courtroom that once chuckled at every move now hung on his every word. Gasps escaped from the gallery as the boy revealed flaws so obvious in hindsight, yet invisible to those who claimed to be experts. And then it happened, the final blow. He looked straight at the judge, steady, fearless, and recited a precedent case that not only crushed the argument against him but exposed the injustice of the entire trial. His tone was sharp, controlled, undeniable.